This isn't just an island, it's a parallel reality. A place where one night costs more than someone else's entire year. Where your name doesn't matter, your liquidity does. Where luxury isn't pleasure anymore, it's a controlled exit from the real world. Why would anyone pay $350,000 to sleep somewhere peaceful? What kind of life do you need to escape to disappear this far? And if it's paradise, why does it feel like the cleanest cage money can buy? Today we're going somewhere you will never be invited, not because you're not good enough, but because you're not necessary. Imagine stepping off a private jet onto a runway that feels like it was built to be forgotten. No terminal, no lines, no noise, just a clean handoff. A black car is already waiting, not because you're important, but because the system is. There are no photos, no curiosity, no welcome, just one quiet verification. Are you truly the person who can burn $350,000 like it's a rounding error? Then a helicopter, not to a hotel, not to a city, but to an island designed to feel unreal on purpose. As you approach, it doesn't scream wealth. No towers, no spectacle, just water, green, villas, and silence that feels engineered. And that's the tell. This place was not built to impress tourists. It was built to remove friction. No check-in, no paperwork, no guest experience. You don't arrive as a visitor, you arrive as a variable in a controlled environment. Here, your wants aren't served, they're anticipated. Not to spoil you, but to keep you predictable. Because real luxury at this level isn't indulgence. It's disappearing without leaving a trace worth chasing. Let's be clear about something. You're not paying $350,000 for space. You're not paying for design. You're not paying for comfort. Those are just props. What you're really paying for is control without friction. Take a place like the Brando, Tetiaroa, French Polynesia, 30-something villas. But when the island is rented as a whole, it stops being a resort. It becomes a closed system. No tourists, no other guests, no chance encounters, no witnesses. Every square meter exists only for one purpose: to respond to you. Your villa isn't a room, it's an environment. Glass walls, ocean on all sides, no visible borders. Private beach, not access. Ownership, temporarily but absolutely. Pool, spa, open air, silence engineered down to decibel level. Nothing is shared. Nothing is random. Nothing is accidental. Food doesn't come from a menu. It comes from profiling. Chefs don't ask what you want. They already know. Diet, allergies, sleep cycle, training routine, blood sugar, preferences, habits. Your day is written like a script before you wake up. And if the island doesn't have what you want, it doesn't apologize. It moves. A plane takes off. A boat reroutes. A helicopter lifts. No discussion, no delay. Real luxury isn't gold bathrooms. It's the ability to do whatever you want, with no one knowing you did it. Now let me show you what that actually looks like. It's 2:17 in the morning. You're not drunk. You're not bored. You're not joking. You say one sentence. I want sushi. From Tokyo. Not local. The real place. No reaction. No surprise. No explanation. Your butler doesn't nod. He doesn't confirm. He just leaves. At 2:19, a logistics coordinator wakes up. At 2:23, a supplier in Tokyo is contacted. At 2:41, a private jet slot is cleared. At 3:12, a chef you've never met starts working. By sunrise, the fish has crossed an ocean. By breakfast, it's plated in front of you. Still cold from the sea, still warm from the knife. No photos, no record. No one outside this island ever hears about it. Not because it's impressive, because it's normal here. And that's the part people misunderstand. This isn't extravagance, it's insulation. Up to 10 staff members per guest. Not service, containment. A butler, a private chef, a doctor, a trainer, a pilot. Security trained to disappear, not intimidate. If you rent the entire island, it escalates. Airspace closes above you. No aircraft passes without approval. Signal blockers activate. Private networks replace public ones. A medevac helicopter sits idle, just in case. Fireworks don't require permits. Concerts don't require publicity. Celebrities don't require introductions. Because this isn't hospitality, it's infrastructure. That's what costs $350,000 a night. Not comfort, disappearance. You're not paying to be pampered. You're paying to exist in a place where reality bends quietly around you and then snaps back into place when you leave. No trace, no noise, no story. Just another night the world will never know happened. This island is not for rich travelers. Those people go to Dubai, to the Maldives, to five-star hotels with infinity pools and Instagram lighting. This island is for people who don't want the world to know they ever left home. Not because they're hiding, but because visibility would interfere with what they're doing. So who actually comes here? Tech billionaires negotiating the future of data, infrastructure, AI, things you'll only hear about years later, once the outcomes are irreversible. Heirs and oligarchs managing offshore systems that don't survive exposure. Hollywood elites escaping the image they sold you, or doing what that image would never survive. Politicians who should never be seen together, yet meet here precisely because no law follows them this far. And people you've never heard of, with more influence than the ones you vote for. But lists don't tell the whole story. So picture one guest, no public profile, no interviews, no Wikipedia page. He doesn't arrive with assistance. He arrives with leverage. His phone stays in his pocket, not because he's hiding, but because nothing urgent exists outside this island. Whatever happens here will shape what becomes urgent later. 2 meetings, 1 walk along the beach, 1 document reviewed quietly, not signed yet. By the time he leaves, a company doesn't exist anymore. It just hasn't collapsed publicly. A merger is decided before the market hears rumors. A political position softens without anyone knowing why. This isn't vacation behavior. This is operational behavior. And the island is built for exactly that. Here, rules don't negotiate, they pre-filter. Every staff member signs multi-million-dollar NDAs. Confidentiality isn't optional, it's structural. Staff don't ask questions, don't speak, don't post, don't photograph. Often they don't even know who the guest really is. Only a code name, a clearance level, a role. This isn't hospitality, it's compartmentalization. That's why this place isn't a resort. It's an offshore boardroom disguised as paradise. Deals aren't made over cocktails, unless the cocktail is part of the negotiation. And if you ever get invited here, it doesn't mean you made it. It means you're useful. Not admired, not celebrated, useful. Because places like this don't host people for who they are. They host people for what happens after they leave. The most valuable thing these islands sell is not the villa, the chef, the pool, or the view. It's silence. Not peaceful silence, strategic silence. Guest lists aren't public. If you ever see one, it's marketing. Communication is controlled, sometimes encrypted, sometimes replaced entirely with secure devices. Phones don't just stay in pockets. In certain environments, they become liabilities. Security isn't about paparazzi, it's about containment of information, relationships, decisions, mistakes. And here's the part no brochure prints. What happens if someone breaks the rules? At this level, consequences don't arrive with sirens. They arrive as systems quietly closing. Legal pressure activates. Networks cool off. Opportunities vanish. People don't get threatened. They get removed. Socially, professionally, financially. Because the unwritten rule is simple. If you know too much, loyalty isn't optional. And the cleanest punishment isn't violence. It's making you irrelevant. Most people look at a private island and see extravagance. White sand, private villas, excess. But the ultra-rich don't buy extravagance. They buy infrastructure. These places are nodes, just like mega yachts, private clubs, bunker estates, and sovereign-style properties. They exist to create a zone where visibility ends and decisions begin. Neutral territory. No press, no records, minimal inputs, controlled inputs, controlled outputs. Here, companies can merge without noise. Conflicts can be settled without headlines. Political alliances can be explored without accountability. Narratives can be shaped before the public even knows there's a story to debate. You think they come here to relax. Sometimes they do, but that's not why these places exist. They exist because the world can't watch them operate here. And that's the part most people miss. Because every time a decision is made in one of these invisible zones, it shows up later in your life as something that feels inevitable. A market shift, a regulation, a crisis, a war you didn't vote for, a system change you're told to adapt to. By the time you're arguing about it online, the decision is already old. That's why these islands matter. Not because they're luxurious, but because they remove decisions from places where resistance exists. The more of these places there are, the easier it becomes to keep the public convinced that everything is transparent, while the real moves happen somewhere no one is allowed to look. And once decisions are made where no one can see them, they no longer need your consent. Let's put the fantasy down for a second. $350,000. For you, that number has gravity. It's years of work, a home, security, the difference between sleeping and worrying, between one emergency ruining your life or not. It's not a price, it's time. Now look at the other side. For them, $350,000 isn't a decision. It's a gesture. One night, one meeting, one reset, one quiet disappearance before they return to reshape something you'll later be told to adapt to. Same number, two realities. Money here isn't value, it's a filter. They don't pay $350,000 because it's worth it. They pay it because it ensures separation. Separation from consequences, from exposure, from the systems you live inside. You measure money by what it costs you. They measure money by what it removes. That's the real divide. Not rich versus poor, but dependent versus insulated. And once you understand that, the island stops looking like paradise. It starts looking like what it really is. A place where the future is negotiated, while you're still budgeting for the present. If this video made you think, if it showed you a world you always felt was real but no one ever dared to explain, then you're exactly where you need to be. Fake-off luxury isn't about admiration, it's about revelation. We uncover the systems the elite will never discuss and reveal what luxury really means behind the curtain. If you're ready to see more, subscribe, give it a like, turn on notifications, and stay with us. Because in this world, those who know the rules play a completely different game.